I turned 80 last month. Nobody threw a party. The people who would have aren't here anymore. I sat in the kitchen that morning, same chair I've sat in for 40 years, coffee getting cold, phone on the table, quiet as a stone. The house makes sounds now that I never noticed when it was full. The settling of wood, the hum of the refrigerator, the clock in the hallway that nobody else can hear. When you outlive everyone, the world starts to feel like a theater after the show ends. The young ones rush past, arguing about things that from here look like grains of sand. They glance at me with pity sometimes, like being the last one standing is a tragedy. But there's something they don't understand. When everyone leaves, you finally see what you should have been paying attention to all along. And there's one rule I wish someone had screamed at me when I was your age. The problem is, even if they had, I wouldn't have listened. I was a good man. Ask anyone who knew me. Hardworking, reliable, showed up every day for 41 years, never missed a mortgage payment, never forgot an anniversary, well, almost never. I provided, I protected, I did what a man was supposed to do, and underneath all of it was an assumption I never even knew I was making. The people who love me will always be there. I thought love was a deposit you could make once and withdraw forever, like I'd earned something permanent just by being present at the beginning. So I got busy. We all get busy. The career needed attention. The projects piled up. There was always something urgent pulling at my sleeve. And the people at home, they understood. They had to understand. This was for them, wasn't it? Here's what nobody tells you about relationships. They don't end with explosions. There's no door slamming, no dramatic goodbye, no moment you can point to and say, that's when it fell apart. They end with silence. The calls get shorter, not suddenly, just a minute less here, a minute less there. The visits get rarer. The conversations get smaller. You stop asking real questions because you stopped having time for real answers. And somehow, without anyone deciding it, you become strangers who share a history. My wife never complained. My children never yelled. And that was the problem. I took their silence as approval. I thought no news was good news. But silence isn't peace. Silence is what happens when people stop expecting you to hear them. The people who love you most will never tell you when you've let them down. They just adjust. They lower their expectations quietly, privately, in ways you'll never see. They renegotiate the relationship without saying a word. And by the time I noticed, by the time I finally looked up from whatever I thought was so important, they had already made peace with a smaller version of me, a version I never meant to become. The moment I finally saw it, really saw it, was at my son's wedding. He stood up to give his toast, glass in hand, that nervous smile I remembered from when he was a boy. And he started thanking people. He thanked his mother for always believing in him. He thanked his college roommate for being his rock through the hard years. He thanked his high school coach for teaching him what it meant to show up when things got difficult. And then he looked at me and he said, "And of course, thanks to Dad for everything." Of course, 2 words, polite, automatic, the kind of thing you say when you can't think of anything specific. 30 years of fatherhood, and that was the summary, of course. I smiled. I raised my glass, and something inside me cracked open that never fully closed again. I wasn't absent from his life. I was adjacent to it, present in body, elsewhere in spirit, there for the photographs but missing from the memories that mattered. So here it is. The uncomfortable rule that took me 80 years to understand. The people who love you will never tell you when you've disappointed them. They'll just quietly lower what they expect from you until one day you realize they stopped expecting anything at all. This isn't cruelty, it's protection. When someone loves you and you keep letting them down in small ways, they don't confront you. They adapt. They protect themselves from hoping. They learn to need less from you so it hurts less when you don't show up. I didn't break their hearts. I just slowly convinced them their hearts weren't safe with me. After the wedding, I started seeing everything differently, like putting on glasses for the first time and realizing the world had edges all along. I saw the birthdays where I was there, but not present, body at the table, mind on Monday's meeting. I heard the echoes of conversations I half listened to, giving answers to questions nobody asked. I remembered the exact moment my daughter stopped asking for my advice, and how relieved I felt. One less thing to deal with. I never wondered why she stopped, I just accepted the silence. The worst part? I didn't even notice any of it while it was happening. I thought no news was good news. I thought peace meant everything was fine. They didn't leave me. They just stopped waiting for me to show up. We think we'd notice if something important was slipping away, but relationships don't flash warning lights. There's no alarm bell, no check engine light, no pain that wakes you up at night. They just get quieter and quieter until one day the silence feels normal. You notice a broken bone. You feel a fever coming on, but the slow weakening of the heart, the one that beats between you and the people you love, that you don't feel until it's too late. The silence felt like peace. It was actually distance. At 74, I started making different choices. Not because I deserved forgiveness, because they deserved effort. I started calling my son on Tuesdays, not for any reason, just to ask how he was. Really ask, and then wait for the real answer. At first, the conversations were awkward, short. He wasn't used to me being curious, but I kept calling. I learned to ask the second question, the one that comes after the easy answer. I learned to sit in silence without filling it. I started showing up for the small things, the school plays for my grandchildren, the Sunday dinners I used to skip, the long drives to see my daughter, just to sit on her porch and listen to whatever she wanted to tell me. I can't get back the years, but I can stop adding to the debt. Some relationships came back, slowly, carefully, like animals approaching an open hand. Some didn't. My brother and I never fully repaired what broke between us. He died 3 years ago, and there are conversations we'll never have. That's fair. I earned that loss. But here's what I've learned. The uncomfortable truth isn't a punishment, it's a gift. Because when you finally see the pattern, you can change it. Every relationship you have right now is either growing or shrinking. There's no pause button. The people in your life are making quiet adjustments based on what you're giving them, right now, today, while you're watching this. At 80, nobody cares about your job title. They don't ask about your promotions or your achievements. They care whether you showed up, whether you listened, whether you made them feel like they mattered. The house is quiet now, but some silences are fuller than others, and the ones I earned, those are the ones I can live with. So here's my question for you. Who in your life has stopped expecting anything from you? And did you even notice when it happened? Think about it. The calls that got shorter, the invitations that stopped coming, the person who used to tell you everything and now only talks about the weather. The people who love you won't tell you. So I'm telling you, you're not out of time, but you're closer than you think. Make the call. Ask the real question. Show up before they stop waiting. The uncomfortable rule only stays uncomfortable if you ignore it. The moment you act on it, it becomes the most important thing you've ever learned.